Hello friends, Heidi here from Rain Country. God is good all the time, and I'm here for my regular Monday this and that video. And what this is, for those of you who are new, it's a weekly video I do as an update to let you know what's going on, to answer some questions that have come in through the last week, to let you know of videos that are coming out, or to lead you back to some old videos I already have, and give you some more current garden updates, since the rest of my videos you see published are usually at least a week old from the time they were shot to the time they actually publish, because that's just how I stay organized and stay ahead. So if something crazy happens, like a grandbaby's born, I don't have to worry about getting behind on my videos. And with that in mind, yes, our grandbaby was born. So those of you who watched the last Monday this and that video, I shoot my videos on a Thursday before the Monday they publish. So the baby was actually born on Saturday, and if you saw my community post, you would have seen that. But I was in the middle of shooting the video when I got the call right in the middle of that, 9:30 in the morning, and rushed over there and picked up my daughter-in-law because my son was working out of town that day, and took her down to the hospital. And yes, we don't have the option here in our small remote town to have home deliveries because we have no licensed midwives anywhere near us. And that's an unfortunate thing. But one thing I have to say I was very happy about, that for one, it was the first delivery I'd ever witnessed other than my own. And I was really happy to see how they stuck with more natural things. And they even set up a tub so she could do go through a lot of her labor in the tub. It was amazing for her first child. It went as well as it did. The baby's perfect. As you can see, he has a full head of hair. Everything went as smoothly and as natural as can go within a hospital. And so I was happy with that. And happy not only to be there for the birth of my own grandchild, but to watch the whole process from the other side of things, so I can see how it's done to better prepare me for a situation if I ever have to deliver one of my own grandchildren because of whatever happens down the road. And thankfully, I also have a book that also talks about home delivery, so I can learn more about that myself. It was quite a blessing. It was beautiful. It was wonderful. And I learned a bunch just being there. So let me go ahead and get on to the other topics of today. And one of the things is talking about the vinegar. I've got 2 batches of vinegar that are ready to be strained. I always notice my nasturtium vinegar takes a little bit longer, but it is ready. I actually just did a test on it, and it is at a 3.0 pH, which means it's a good high acidity. And then this one is about 3.5 pH. So remember, when you're checking your vinegars, pH and acidity are different numbers. Some people get those confused. So when you're looking at the pH, you're looking for a number between 3 and 4. When you're looking at acidity, you're wanting your acidity to be about 5%. So a 3.5 pH is about equal to a 5% acidity, meaning that you could use that vinegar for canning, pickling, and so on, and even for making your own homemade cheese, which I have an old video on that I'll link to in the description box down below. So anyway, this vinegar here is the one that's going to go on the chicken's water. It's a garlic, green, and oregano vinegar. It smells wonderful. It would also work amazingly well for making salad dressings, especially an Italian salad dressing. That would taste so good. And then again, that's the nasturtium, and I did this one with dried nasturtium flowers instead of fresh like I normally do, since my fresh flowers aren't in yet and I want some more nasturtium vinegar for my hair. And so I'll be straining that out today so I can start using that, and then straining this out so I can start putting it in the chicken's water. Now, if you're wanting to know how to do a test for your vinegar, I don't always test my vinegars. I usually just go by taste and smell. But because the nasturtium always seems to hold on to a sweet taste, it's harder for me to tell if it's fully done. So that's one reason why I do like to use a test strip. So what you want to look for, and I'll link to a set of these down below, is a test strip. When you're looking for universal test strips, and you're looking for ones that will go down as low as 0, not that start at 4. So the universal ones usually start at 0. If you get the ones that start at 4, you won't be able to tell below that if your pH is any lower than a 4. So anyway, I'll link to a set of those down below. If these are available, I'll link to these or whatever is similar to those. So you can know when you do your test though, if it's a vinegar you're going to use for food purposes, for consuming, I recommend you take a little bit of the vinegar out, put it in a small cup, and then swish your test strip around in there first. You just swish it around and then you look at it and you compare it to the chart right here so you can see where it fits into the pH scale. All right, so some other topics I want to talk about. Right here I have, it's not done yet, but I'm dehydrating up the cheese that I had waxed and put up about 6 months ago. Right at about 4 to 5 months, I like the flavor of it better. When you let it sit longer than that and age longer, to me it's just a little bit too sharp. So what I decided to do is, this would be perfect for this, is to go ahead and take that very cheese and dehydrate it up for my cheese powder. So because it has a stronger flavor, that will give the cheese powder a stronger flavor, because it does tend to be, once you dry it up like that, it tends to be a lot more mild. So I think having a nice sharp cheese like that will give it a better flavor when using in the various things. I'll link to the video, which is the this and that video, where I show how I dehydrate the cheese and talk about it. And then I'll also link to the update video I did on the dehydrated cheese and how I'm using it. I'm not using it in a ton of things. I'd still like to experiment more, but I always forget. But I do like having the cheese powder for especially adding to the powdered eggs when I'm making a scrambler in the morning for Patrick. So anyway, I'm going to put this back on the dehydrator. I've got some more trays in there. And right here I've got a couple of pineapples I got from Misfits Market. My plan was to dehydrate them. If you've never dehydrated pineapple, it is so good. I do like freeze-dried pineapple, but dehydrated pineapple is at least as good, if not better. It depends on how you're going to use it. Freeze-dried I like to use to powder up and flavor things, but for snacking on, really like dehydrated pineapple. It's got obviously a more chewy consistency, and it is so tasty, and it just seems like the flavor of all the dehydrated fruits, pineapple is one of those that seems to really hold its flavor well when dehydrated. So I love it. And what I'm also going to do is take the rind of the pineapple and make vinegar out of that. So remember, you can use anything to make vinegar. Oftentimes I'm using the scraps. I'm either using excess herbs from my garden, or I'm using scraps like banana peels, apple peels, peach peels, and even the rind from the pineapple to make my various vinegars. And if you're interested in how I use them, I have a video that's, I think, maybe 3 years old now, that I did on the many uses of homemade vinegars, and there's a lot of uses for them. So please go check out that video. I'll be linking to down below if you're curious on, you got all these vinegars going, now what are you going to do with them all? All right, now I want to give you a quick update. I'm going to be doing a more in-depth video down the road once I've used ButcherBox for a while and try some more of their various meats, so I can have a pretty well-rounded experience to share with you. But I'll share with you what I've learned so far. Really happy with the ground beef. Love the chuck roast. The chuck roast is amazing. That first night I cooked it up and it was so tender and wonderful. Oh man, and it was even absolutely delicious the next day, cut up and eaten cold. So definitely getting more of that. The bacon has a nice flavor if if you eat pork at all. It's just very thin. So we weren't as happy with the bacon as we were the bacon we were getting from Misfits. And if you like thin bacon, you'll like the ButcherBox bacon. And remember, the ButcherBox, their meats are all humanely raised. They're not pumped full of growth hormones and antibiotics. They're as natural as can be. And the beef is all grass-fed and grass-finished. So I'm liking the burger better than the one, at least the last couple packages I got from Misfits were a little gristly. Seems like the first ones I was getting was not like that, but last couple packages I had seemed to have a lot of gristle in them. So I think I'm a little happier with the ButcherBox ground beef. And what else? The chicken breasts were good. Usually I like to buy whole chickens and then find various ways to use that up. But sometimes it's nice just to have chicken breasts so I can marinate and barbecue, or just cut up and stir fry with some vegetables. So those are nice for that. I still have some more things I need to try, but I just wanted to share my experience so far. And the steak. We did the ranch steaks and that was pretty good. I'm going to try a different steak on this next box that I have coming in. So anyway, I'll be trying various things so I can share with you my experience. And so far I'm happy with what we've tried. And I'll link to that referral link down below. If you go through that link, you can get, for the life of your membership, you can get 2 pounds of ground beef in every box that you order for free. You don't have to pay any extra for that. And I'm getting that right now. And I also am ordering more ground beef so I can dehydrate a bunch up. Oh, yes, I'm also ordering an Italian sausage that's not link sausage, but it's actually loose, so I can dehydrate that up. I want to try that. A lot of people have been asking me if I've tried dehydrating sausage, and I keep meaning to, and I haven't yet. So I'm going to be doing that when I get that order in, and I'll give you an update on that as well. That referral link, if you go through that, that also is a benefit to us because we get $30 off our next box. And then you can set up your own referral link so you can share that with friends and family and get $30 off one of your orders as well. So it's a pretty cool setup. Misfits Market works the same way. I think it's 10 or 15. I always forget which. And it's the same way. It's referral links. And then you can set up your own to do the same thing. And it's really nice when you can get a few of those. It really helps cut the cost of your overall grocery expense. And then we're all helping each other out a little bit that way. Okay, and now talking about dehydrating again. So I've been talking quite a bit about, I had a video come out recently, a more updated video on the dehydrating basics and tips, and I mentioned the silicone trays in that I use for dehydrating liquid items like milk and eggs and so on. But when I was uploading that video, I found that there was another brand of silicone trays out there. They're in a brown color, and I don't know if they have the Nesco yet. I'll see if I can find those, but they do have ones to fit both the Excalibur and the Kasori, and I'll put the links to those below. I haven't tried those, so I have no experience with them. I know I like my Bright Kitchen ones that are in the green, but the brown ones I noticed were cheaper. You could actually get more for your money if you go with the brown ones. So I'll link to those so you can check those out, as well as the Bright Kitchen. And then you can do your own comparisons and read the reviews and see what you think. Like I said, the brown ones are newer, so they're not going to have near as many reviews as the Bright Kitchen brand does. So you might have to, if you want to try them, you might just have to take a chance and see how they work for you. I would imagine they would work just as well as the Bright Kitchen. If they're silicone, they're silicone. All right, now let's talk a little bit about the garden. So right after, what's funny, right after I shot that video about the garden last week and the cold weather and how I only had one bean coming up, that very day, the weather got nice, it started to warm up, and we had like a 3-day stretch of warm, sunny weather. And all of a sudden beans started popping up all over the place. And I got a lot more buds on my grapevine. Some of them are starting to open up and leaf out. And let's see, my strawberries are getting flowers all over the place. A lot of other things are starting to pop up and grow and look healthier. It's amazing how at least having a couple of days of nice weather can make a big change in the garden. So that was exciting. Oh, and the other thing was, I'm not sure how I missed them when I went and looked before. I suddenly do have some blossoms on my quince tree. I thought I lost them all, but yes, some of them had turned black and shriveled up, but I do have quite a few blossoms out there on my little young quince tree, and that was amazing. Nothing on my cherry. If the cherry trees were getting any blossoms on them, they're gone. But that's okay. We're going to keep trying. We're going to keep plugging along. These trees are all young, and sometimes it can take several years for them to acclimate and really start putting out fruit, especially in our area because it's so wet here. And some of those fruits, like where I grew up in the dry side of Washington State, cherries, peaches, these were major crops over there. But here it's a completely different climate on this side of the state, on this side of the mountain range, especially in our small town because we are wetter than all the other areas around us. So like I was saying in last week's video, one of the things we have to cling to is even when you look and you see the things that are just not doing what they should do, maybe you lost all of this type of seedling or nothing popped up, just keep trying. Don't give up, and then focus on the things that are positive, the good things that are happening in your garden, because that will help keep you motivated to keep pushing ahead. And remember that even the failures, even if you've been gardening for all of your life, you're going to find with the changing climates that happen, because it is cyclical. We go warming, cooling. It is cyclical and it is proven. Now obviously, at least in our area, we're in a cooling trend, and I think we're seeing an increase of rain than we've seen in the past few years. So we have to learn to adjust. We have to learn, okay, maybe I got to make some changes. Maybe I got to start adding more greenhouses or more protected areas. Which reminds me, by the way, for a lot of people who live in wetter climates, if you're struggling with things that prefer drier climates like your mullein and your rosemary, plant those in more protected areas that aren't going to collect as much rain. I find that when I plant the rosemary up right against the house, it does great. If I plant it out in the open, it never makes it through our very wet winters. And I would think the same thing would happen with mullein. That's the other thing we have to realize. If a specific herb you really want to grow because of its specific health benefits, and it's not going to work in your area, look for other herbs that will do the same thing, whether it be something that you could forage for in the wild, like for us, in replacement of the mullein, I can go get old man's beard. It's all over the place around here, and it's free. And it's called the lungs of the forest because of what it does for respiratory health. So it's just as beneficial for respiratory health as mullein is. So I'm not too worried about it if I can't get it to grow. But here's the cool thing is my friend who moved here from the other side of the state where it's dry and warm, she actually managed to bring some of her original starts with her of mullein, and they're growing. So it is possible that once those acclimate to our area, I might be able to get seed from her and then grow that and see if that does better because it's already going to be more acclimated to this area. But either way, you either keep trying or you just change your focus to something you know will grow better in your own area. So that's why I'm not that worried about it. Yes, I was a little disappointed. I lost all my seedlings, but that one that's still just kind of hanging on there, I have other herbs that are great for respiratory health and not just the usnea either. And I have a list of herbs, by the way, for lung health. I'll link to that video down below. And that's in part of a whole playlist where I put together lists for various health issues. So I'll put the full playlist link to that as well in the description box. And on that topic, remember to learn about the wild edibles in your area as well. So I did a video not too long back where I talked about, I just picked a few certain ones to use as examples, but learning about the wild edibles and how to go about it and then start foraging them for yourself. It's really important to know what already grows good in your area that you can go harvest for free. Because we live in a very wet climate, mushrooms are common around here. So yes, we get chanterelles, we even get lion's mane around here, though I've yet to find it for myself, but it does grow around here. We get chicken of the woods, we get the turkey tail, and many more mushrooms. So I still have more to learn about what grows around here, but we have gathered chanterelles before, we've gathered chicken of the woods, and now even the turkey tail, and I hope to be doing a lot more of that, as well as some other wild herbs. So I'm also going to link to an old video I did several years ago when Patrick and I just went for a hike just for the heck of it, and we came across some chicken of the woods. I'll link to that video down below so you can learn about those and see what I did there. And I think I even did a separate video where I made a stir fry from the fresh chicken of the woods. And no, it doesn't dehydrate up great. It dehydrates up great, but it doesn't rehydrate as well as certain other mushrooms. And I think it's because it's so very dense. So I wouldn't do that again. Using it fresh for that is best. Before I leave, I got to mention this again. A lot of people from around the world try to put orders in on my store, but they miss the headline on the store where it says, yes, I ship all over the world, but you need to message me first. I've mentioned this in several videos, and I know with the 1,600 videos or so I have out there, not everybody's going to see that, especially if you're new. All you have to do is message me. We have sent innumerable orders to Canada, quite a few to the UK, various parts of the UK, Scotland, Ireland, England. We've shipped orders to South Korea, to Australia, to New Zealand. So we ship all over the world. All you have to do is send me a private message on Etsy, and I will give you a price quote. That's the thing. I'll give you a proper shipping quote so you'll know before I set the order up, and then if you agree to that, all I have to do is set up a private custom order just for you. And then the other thing is, we didn't get down with the grandbaby being born and so much excitement. We did not get down to the post office this past week, so I have no quilt squares to show you right now. But yes, I am still needing more quilt squares at this time. I think I have 8 total, and I'm going to need 80 quilt squares. And again, if you're sending me a quilt square from outside the country, send me an email so I can get an idea when to expect it. I'm looking at it's probably going to be a few months before I get all the squares in, and then I'm able to start putting the quilt together. But know that I will keep you updated and let you know in the this and that videos, and also in the community section here on YouTube, that once I have enough to put this quilt together, I'll let you know. But right now, especially if you're in the States, you do have some time. And if you want more details on that, the 10 by 10 quilt squares, I'll link to the video where I was talking about that collaboration and some others in the description box down below. And yes, I could still use more photos of your crafted items for the first photo collaboration I'm going to be doing. But remember, I'll have more of those coming too. So keep those photos coming in. I'm hoping to get that video together soon. And that is photos of anything that you or maybe a family member have created off of any of my craft related videos that have to do with crocheting or sewing. So whether it be a skirt, some napkins, some hair ties, a little crocheted basket, whatever it is, and you want to just share and be a part of the collaboration, take a good quality photo, send that in to me to my email address at raincountryhomestead@gmail.com, and I'll make sure you get added to the collaboration. And also let me know if you want your name added with the picture when I go to put that together. All right, well, that's my this and that for the week. Please share with us down below, how's your garden doing? Is it coming along good? Are you starting to see things perk up? What are some good positive things that are happening there, and what are you planning on doing? I know some people are still waiting to plant. I get that. But remember, we got to stay as upbeat on this as possible and stay encouraged and just keep trying no matter what goes wrong. There's always something positive that we can focus on out there to keep our spirits high. All right, well, thanks for watching. Take care, and God bless.